Hello everyone, my name is Sage and I'm that certified demon cat and welcome to my channel. And in today's video, I'm going to teach y'all how to build characters in Genshin. This is for new players or people who don't really understand how building characters works. So let's get into it. Let's start with a base character. I'm going to be using Beidou as my example. Let's start with the most important bit, leveling up our characters. This is basically going to level up all your main stats. As you can see here, these are our main stats. Now to ascend your character, you're going to hit this button right here. Your screen may look a little different than mine as all my characters are already at level 40. Normally you have to start at level 1. And to even get to the ascension point, you have to use books to level up your characters. In the start of the game, it should have taught you how to do this. Now for your first ascension, you're going to need 3 different items. First, you're going to need some kind of overworld enemy item. This will change depending on the character. Next, you're going to need what I am going to call a natural material. These can be found all over your world. Now how to know where they are, you're going to hit this Go Collect button, and it will show you exactly where they are in the open map, as you can see here. The next material you're going to need are these special gems. There are 7 different kinds of these gems, 1 for each elemental type. To get them, you need to fight overworld bosses, or weekly battles. How to find out what bosses you need to fight them, you're going to click this first button here, and it will open your adventure handbook and show you exactly what boss you need to fight. Another way to get them is through these shops here in Mondstadt and Liyue. Now let's say you have a lot of a certain type of gem, but not the kind you really need. To fix this, you can go to your crafting menu screen. Now click on the second option. As you can see here, it's giving you an option to convert the gems. However, you need something special, which is the special dust, the Dust of Azoth. To get it, all you're going to do is click Stardust Exchange. This will lead you to the Stardust Exchange shop. You can get Stardust by making wishes. Now all you're going to do is click Buy and get how many you want. Now we're going to go back to our crafting menu page. Now that you have the dust, you can convert any gems you want. This will help make the process quicker and a lot easier to do, so you don't end up fighting a bunch of bosses for no reason. To make sure you're converting the right one for your character, you can click Filter by Character, and you can click the character you need. This will tell you exactly what materials you need. You can also craft a bunch of different character materials. This isn't just for the gems. Now let's go back to our character here. Now that you have everything, you should be able to ascend your character. You also will need Mora for this, which I will talk a little bit more about later. Now that you've ascended, you need to level up once again. You're going to need to use these books here, just like you first did when you first leveled up your character. Now to get this, you're just simply going to click this top gray button here. It will lead you to these ley lines. Now these are all over the map. When you go to them, you can click on them, and for 20 resin, you can get some books. Now these are specifically the blue ones for the books. If you want Mora, like I was talking about earlier, you're going to want to hit the gold one. Now this is not only where you can get Mora. You can get Mora from chests and all things around the world, but this is an easy way to get it quick. And when building characters, you're going to need a lot of it. And as I said before, for both of these, you're going to need what is known as resin. We will get into resin later, but let's focus on the main build for now. Yay! Now your character should be at level 40. Now there is going to be a new column that is added to the materials list that you'll need. These are known as boss materials, or boss mats for short. Each character has a different boss that they need to level up. For example, Beidou needs Lightning Prism from the Electro Hypostasis. Now to actually find these bosses, you're going to click the gray button right here, and it will take you to the boss's location. All you have to do is defeat the boss and spend 40 resin to get the materials. You can get up to 2 to 3 boss materials per battle. Now that you have all the materials, all you have to do is click Ascend again. And that's pretty much everything you need to know about leveling up your characters. Now we're going to move on to see what resin is. Now this is resin. It's like a form of currency to help you level up characters. Now normally, you're going to have up to 200 resin. Now this will reset every single day. However, this may not be enough, so you can use Primo Gems to replenish your resin. You can also use Fragile Resin to do this. You can get this from your adventure rank level, as well as certain events. Now this is condensed resin, a very handy material indeed. Now you can get the recipe for condensed resin here at Wagner's. Just go here and you can click on condensed resin. I would also recommend buying the crystal fly trap, as you need crystal flies to craft condensed resin. Now what condensed resin does is it condenses down 60 resin, so that when you are in a domain of some kind, you can get 3 times the reward for only 1 battle. Now this can only be used inside domains. You cannot use condensed resin on boss battles, so be aware. Now let's get on to weapons. Now there are 5 weapon types. The first one we have is Catalyst. Then we have Claymores. Next are swords. Then polearms. And then finally bows. Now any weapon will always have a base attack and then some form of special stat. For example, Elemental Mastery. For building characters, I would always recommend using a 4-star weapon and or a 5-star weapon. Typically anything under that is too weak for most characters. Obviously, every character needs a different weapon. So you can click here and it will tell you what is recommended for that character. Now when you click on them, it will organize all the weapons you have into weapons that you could use for that character. Even after you do that, it can be difficult to find the perfect weapon. So you can click here to go to your training guide and it will suggest to you what is most often used for this character. This guide is actually pretty useful as it will actually tell you how to get everything that you need to level up your character. Now we need to talk about leveling up your weapon. All you're going to do is click Enhance and it will send you to this page. You can use other weapons or this enhancement ore to level up your weapon. This will help make your character even stronger. Now, just like your character level, you have to ascend. Now to do that, you need 3 different types of materials. 2 overworld enemy materials and then a domain material. Clicking on each will tell you exactly where to go or what domain you need to go in. And once you have all the materials you need, you can go ahead and ascend your weapon to make your characters even stronger. Next is Refinement. This will make the buff that I was talking about earlier even stronger on your weapon. There's 5 refinement ranks, so you can add in 4 different weapons into 1 weapon. Again, this will just make your weapon even stronger. That's all you need to know about weapons. Let's move on to artifacts. Now Genshin has 5 different types of artifacts. The first being the flower, the second being the plume, the third being the sands, the fourth being the goblet, and the fifth being the circlet. Now the flower's main stat will always be HP. The plume's main stat will always be flat attack. Now for your sands piece, you have a little bit more options of what you can choose for your main stat. You can have HP percentage, defense percentage, attack percentage, elemental mastery, or energy recharge. For your goblet, you can have HP, defense, and attack and elemental mastery, as well as any form of elemental goblet. For example, pyro damage. Now for your circlet, you can have crit damage, crit rate, or healing bonus. Now sometimes it can be hard to know what artifact pieces you need. You can click here and it will tell you what is suggested. This will tell you what kind of artifact set you should use, as well as the main stat and substats. Substats pretty much have all the same options as main stats except any form of elemental damage bonus. You get 4 per artifact. In Genshin, there are multiple different artifact sets. Each set has a different bonus to help improve your character. You can look at the recommended page to see what set would work best for your character. Once you find it, click on it. Once you click on it, it will give you the option to see what domain it needs. Every artifact domain has 2 sets within it. It costs 20 resin to do 1 battle of the domain. Now for these domains, I always recommend using condensed resin. Since it's not a guarantee that you'll get a perfect artifact, it takes a long time, so it's much easier to use condensed resin. This here is an example of a completed build. As you can see, I got the main set that I needed for him, as well as I got all the substats I wanted. This build took me a few months to do, so things like this take a long time, cause again, there's no guarantee. You just have to keep grinding it out till you find the perfect artifacts. Now obviously they don't have to be perfect, just usable. Talents, just like everything else, also need to be leveled up. All you have to do is click on the materials that it needs and it will show you where to go. Just like I have shown you throughout this video. Your talents are basically what your character does. You can read through them to see exactly what your character is doing and how they do it. You can look through their normal attack, skill, and elemental burst. And most characters have ascension talents as well as passive talents as well. This is pretty simple, just level them up and you're good. Then finally, all we have left are constellations. You don't need constellations for it to be a good build, however constellations can help improve your build. But regardless, I'd read through them anyway. And that's the basics for how to build a Genshin character. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope I'll be able to see you guys in the next one. Bye!